Missed flight leads to an incredible encounter. Billionaire reveals life-changing secret of fate. Jake Thompson stood frozen at the gate, the sadness of his missed flight crashing over him like a wave. It was a crisp Saturday morning at Lincoln Airport, but he felt the cold grip of panic in his chest. He was supposed to get on that plane to Tennessee and finally reconnect with his estranged daughter, Emily. His heart raced, thumping louder than the chatter of nearby travelers. He could almost picture her wide eyes, disappointment brimming just under the surface of their long-dormant relationship. What had he done? As moments slipped away, a knot twisted in his stomach. There she was, a high school senior planning her last mother-daughter dance, and instead of being there for her, he stood here, stuck in this crowded terminal. Would she even want him back in her life? The weight of his failed attempts lingered. He hadn't been there for birthdays, school events, or just to say, "I love you." He felt lost, just another father who had let his child slip through the cracks. His frustration surged, but suddenly, his race against time intersected with fate. A soft voice broke through his haze. "Well, looks like we're both stuck here." Jake turned to see an older man, Walter Hayes, dressed in a simple yet tailored suit that screamed understated wealth. The man's eyes gleamed with warmth as he offered a genuine smile. Unable to ignore him, Jake nodded. "Yeah, I just missed my flight. Trying to see my daughter." Walter's gaze shifted, full of understanding, and the conversation flowed. They talked for hours by that gate, two strangers connected through their shared struggles. Jake poured out his heart, revealing the chaos of balancing two jobs while being the sole parent, the heartache of missing key moments. And Walter shared his story, a childhood cloaked in money but devoid of connection, a world where love was exchanged for wealth. True success, Walter mused, isn't about the riches you accumulate, but the courage to recognize your value and the impact you have on others. Those words struck Jake like lightning, igniting a flicker of hope amid his despair. Maybe he could change things. Maybe he could still be a father to Emily. Before long, they both fell silent, contemplating the depths of their conversation. Just then, a notification on Walter's phone drew his attention. A position at his company appeared on his screen, one that could lead to a dramatic upward shift in Jake's financial situation. The moment filled the air with tension. Could Jake take this opportunity and secure a bright future for himself and Emily? Or would he risk another chance to reconnect with her? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Walter's keen gaze broke through Jake's thoughts once again. The question you must answer, he said with steady eyes, is not what you can gain from life, but what you're willing to give up to truly live for those you love. Jake's heart raced as he stood at this pivotal crossroads, an impossible decision weighing him down. The hum of the airport faded away, and all that remained was the question that hung heavy in the air: would he choose the glimmer of wealth or the chance to mend the bonds of family? Time was slipping, yet the answer felt closer than ever. Jake's thoughts spiraled as he stared at Walter. The man's words echoed in his mind like a haunting melody, sliding beneath the weight of responsibility and regret. What are you willing to give up? It was such a simple question, but it carried an invisible weight that seemed to pin Jake to the ground. Are you okay? Walter asked gently, a hint of concern in his voice. Jake realized he had been silent too long, lost in the turmoil of his emotions. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be faced with this decision today. I mean, I have a chance at something big, but is that what my daughter really needs? The uncertainty crept into his voice, and he felt vulnerable. Walter placed a reassuring hand on Jake's shoulder. You want to be a father, right? What would your daughter value more? A steady income or a relationship with you? The question pierced through Jake's facade. He thought about Emily, her laughter, the conversations he had missed. I want to be there for her, he whispered, the weight of the moment pushing against his chest. You're standing at a crossroads, Walter said, his tone soft but firm. Taking that job might change your financial situation, but it could also lead you further away from your family. Or you could choose to reach out to Emily today, to bridge that gap, no matter how scary it feels. Jake's heart raced again, this time from an awakening clarity. It wasn't just about money. It was about his daughter. Could he make that first call? Just the thought sent a rush of adrenaline through him. What if she answered? What if she didn't want to talk to him at all? The fear of rejection battled with the hope of reconnection. If sensing his turmoil, Walter spoke again. Sometimes the hardest choices lead to the most rewarding outcomes. You owe it to yourself and to Emily to try. The bustling airport around them faded, and it was just Jake and Walter, two men battered by the storms of their choices. Jake took a deep breath and exhaled slowly, feeling the tension melt slightly away. You're right. I have to try. With determination, he pulled out his phone. The screen illuminated his face, casting a faint glow that felt both comforting and intimidating. He hesitated, thumb hovering over Emily's name in his contacts. Would she pick up? Maybe she wouldn't even recognize his number. Walter leaned closer, whispering, "What's the worst that can happen? She might surprise you." That thought anchored Jake. He couldn't let fear dictate his life any longer. He dialed, the sound ringing in his ears. Each tone was a countdown, a heartbeat in the silence. And then, just as he feared he might hang up, it clicked. "Hello?" Her voice took him aback, light and cautious. Jake's breathing quickened. This was at the moment he had yearned for and dreaded all at once. Memories of missed birthdays and awkward holidays flooded his mind, but he pushed them aside and clung to hope. "Emily, it's your dad," he managed to say, his voice shaky but filled with emotion. A heartbeat passed before she spoke again, this time with a careful curiosity layered over hesitation. "Dad." The opening he had longed for lay before him, and as his heart soared, he felt the weight of Walter's words surrounding him. Could this be the beginning of a new chapter? A chance at redemption? But then, a lingering question invaded his thoughts. Would Emily be willing to let him in after all this time? "Please, don't hang up." Jake held his breath, waiting for her response. Would this be the moment everything changed? Would they take the first steps together down a path he feared might be too late? And as he waited, anxiety and hope intertwined, making for a bittersweet cocktail of emotions that left him breathless, ready for whatever would come next. The silence stretched, heavy and fraught with meaning. Jake could hear the faint rustle of travelers around him, the chirp of notifications from his phone, and yet nothing could pull him away from this moment. He felt like he was suspended in time, tethered to the weight of her voice. "Dad," Emily finally said, her tone softer, a tiny spark of vulnerability breaking through. It was a word soaked in confusion, surprise, and something that felt a lot like longing. "Yes, it's really me," he said, the warmth of her acknowledgement sending a jolt of electricity through his body. "I know this is a surprise. It's more than a surprise," she interrupted, her voice steadying. "I didn't expect to hear from you." "Why now?" Jake's stomach dropped. Why now? Could he explain the fog of regret that had enveloped him all these years? The questions he had wrestled with, the fears he had quelled? Instead, he chose honesty. "I realized I've missed so much, and I wanted to reach out. I just want to be in your life again if you'll let me." There was a moment of silence on the line, but it wasn't the silence of rejection. It was reflective, tentative. "Don't you think it's too late?" Emily asked, her voice cautious yet inquisitive. "Maybe, but I can't just let the past define us," he replied, trying to convey every ounce of sincerity he felt. "I know I messed up. I know I haven't been there, but I want to make things right." He could hear her breathing on the other end, rapid yet measured. "What does that mean? What do you want from me?" Her question pierced through Jake again. It struck him. It wasn't just about him wanting to reconnect. It was about what she needed from him too. Clarity, safety, assurance. "I want to know you, Emily," he said, heart pounding. "I want to understand you. I want to be there for you every step of the way this time. No distractions." Another moment of silence, this one thicker. He feared he had misstepped, overreaching too soon. Can we meet?" she asked hesitantly, almost as if she were testing the waters. The question lit up Jake's heart. Yes, of course," he replied before he could second-guess himself. "Where do you want to meet? We can talk. I can listen. There's a coffee shop I like, near my school. Can you come tomorrow?" "Absolutely," he said, smiling at the thought of seeing her in person. "What time?" As they arranged their meeting, bittersweet memories churned in Jake's mind. Emily at 5, hopping from foot to foot, all smiles and excitement. Emily at 10, her moody teenage eyes filled with unspoken questions about his absence. And now, the young woman on the line, still his daughter, yet a stranger in so many ways. Each detail bolstered his resolve. He was willing to face whatever fears awaited him, and he would take this leap into the unknown. After concluding the call, something shifted in Jake. The weight on his chest felt lighter. He could already envision their first encounter, the nerves, the excitement, the hope that flickered between them. But as he glanced up at the arrival and departure screens in the bustling airport, one thought crashed through him like a wave. What if the reunion didn't go as he dreamed? What if it brought more hurt instead of healing? He shook his head, banishing the negativity. Tomorrow would come, and with it, a chance to begin anew. As he made his way out of the airport, legs feeling like they had wings, he realized he was ready for anything except for the unexpected text that blared from his pocket moments later. It was from an unknown number, and the message sent a chill down his spine. "I know about your plans for tomorrow. You shouldn't go." Jake's heart raced. Who could that be? What did they want? He felt the weight of dread slide back. Just when it seemed like he was ready to step forward, someone was pulling him back. The evening air felt electric as Jake stepped outside the airport. The initial thrill of reconnecting with Emily collided with the unease of the unknown message, squeezing his chest in a way that made it hard to breathe. He pulled out his phone again, staring at the screen. No name, just that ominous warning. It left him with a knot of anxiety. He shook his head, trying to dispel the creep of worry. He took a deep breath. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the cityscape. If tomorrow was going to mark a new beginning, he couldn't let fear cloud that light. Yet, as he made his way to the parking lot, the text nagged at him. "Tomorrow," he muttered. "I just need to focus on tomorrow." He got into his car, gripping the wheel tightly as if it could steer him back to control. In the flickering glow of the dashboard, memories flickered like shadows. Her first day of school, the way she clung to his leg for security, the dance recitals he missed, the birthday parties where he was just an empty chair. Regret washed over him. Each year had spun out like a thread, unspooling between them, but tomorrow could be different. He hit the gas and drove, the city blurring by, each stoplight a small eternity that stretched the evening. Somewhere in the distance, he could hear a train whistle, echoing memories of family trips, laughter, and the innocent bond of a father and daughter. He wanted that back. Pulling into his driveway, Jake sat for a moment, staring at the familiar yet foreign space. He could decorate it with hopeful intentions, turn it into a sanctuary of shared stories and laughter. Shoving the door open, he stepped into the dimly lit house, the silence wrestling with the stubborn echoes of his unfulfilled dreams. Jake flipped on the news for some distraction, but the images swirled his mind as he caught fleeting headlines about family tragedies, people reconnecting after years apart, and heartwarming reunion stories. Each seemed to interrogate him, demanding his attention, pulling at his heart. What if this unknown number held a truth that could shake all his plans? What if they were right? What if he shouldn't go? It felt wrong to let fear dictate his actions, yet doubt snuck in, whispering all the things that could go wrong. He paced the living room, back and forth, battling with himself until he finally slumped onto the couch. He grabbed his phone again, debating whether to respond to the message. "Who are you?" he typed, the silence of his house amplifying the tapping sound of each key. Pressing send felt like releasing a small part of himself into the void, and he nearly regretted it instantly. The minutes passed slowly, each tick of the clock resonating in the stillness. Just as Jake was about to put the phone down, a response lit up the screen. "You think you can fix everything, don't you? You really need to think this through." His chest tightened as he stared at those words. A wave of familiarity washed over him, tugging at his instincts. There was a strange feeling beneath the caution, a sliver of recognition he couldn't quite place. He couldn't just sit back. This was about Emily. This was about reclaiming a part of his life he allowed to slip away. Standing up, he squared his shoulders. He was going to meet her tomorrow, come what may. But the questions lingered. Who was this stranger? And what did they know that he didn't? As he turned off the TV, preparing to face the night, an ominous chill coursed through him. An unexpected visitor was looming on the horizon, and the shadows of the past were not as benign as he hoped. Tomorrow had the potential to spark joy, but there was a rising sensation that it could also unravel everything he was trying to build. Would he find a daughter eager to bridge the gap, or a confrontation about the past he couldn't escape? With that thought lingering like a storm cloud, Jake took a deep breath and whispered into the dark, "Please, let this be the right choice." But as he climbed into bed, sleep weighed down by his concerns, he couldn't shake the feeling that the real challenges lay ahead, and the journey of reunion was far from simple. What other truths would come crashing down with the dawn? Jake woke up with the sun pouring through the blinds, slicing the room with light, but the warmth didn't reach him. He lay there, stagnant, staring at the ceiling, wrestling with the mix of hope and dread swirling inside him. Today would change everything. Or maybe nothing at all. He couldn't decide which possibility felt heavier. He finally managed to swing his legs off the bed, feeling the cool touch of the hardwood floor on his bare feet. He stood up, his heartbeat echoing in his ears as he moved to the bathroom, splashing cold water on his face. Each droplet felt like a rush of clarity, washing away the remnants of the dream he couldn't remember but felt deeply unsettled by. Jake dressed quickly, slipping into a casual shirt and jeans, the most comfortable outfit he owned. He had the clock. He still had time. Maybe he could grab a coffee before heading to the park where he was supposed to meet Emily. The thought made the pit in his stomach churn. He poured coffee into a travel mug, his mind racing through what he wanted to say. Would she want to talk about everything they'd missed? Or would it be about the hurt? His hands shook slightly as he thought about their first conversation. There was so much to make up for. Emotions swelled and ebbed in his chest like tides: anticipation, fear, hope. He stepped outside, the sun breaking through the morning clouds, feeling its rays energizing him. He took a deep breath, letting the air saturate him, reminding himself of the plan. As he started up his car, his phone buzzed again, the screen lighting up with a new notification. It was a message from that unknown number. "Remember, some things are better left untouched. Today may not go as planned." The chill from the night reasserted its hold on his heart. He almost didn't want to respond, but something pulled him to it. What if this stranger had insight? What if they knew something he didn't? Instead of writing back, he tucked the phone into his pocket and gripped the wheel, a stealing resolve igniting within him as he pulled out of the driveway. The drive was deceptively short, the city unfolding around him, familiar sights acting like markers of his past. His pulse quickened as he parked near the entrance of the park. He stepped out, the gravel crunching under his shoes, a sound that somehow echoed the anxiety swirling in his veins. He scanned the park, his heart hovering around his throat. It was a picturesque day, families laughing, children playing. It all felt so normal, so painfully ordinary. And here he was, battling uncharted emotions. He walked toward the picnic area, breathing deeply to ground himself, and then he saw her. Emily. She was sitting on a bench, light cascading over her hair, the breeze playing with it softly. She looked different but somehow the same, and for a moment everything else dropped away. The world faded into the background. He approached slowly, heart hammering as the reality of the moment took shape. She turned, and their eyes locked. A rush of memories flooded in the way she used to look at him when he was still there, when they mattered to each other. But just as he opened his mouth to speak, a figure stepped in from the side, someone unfamiliar, but strangely compelling, their presence radiating an intensity that changed the dynamics of the moment. Jake's heart thudded. Who was this person? And what did they want? Jake could feel the shift in the air, the tension spiraling. He wasn't prepared for this. "Dad." Emily's voice broke through the silence, and in that single word, every hope and worry collided in his chest. As everything turned to focus, Jake was entirely unprepared for the whirlwind that was about to unfold. What was the stranger's connection to Emily? And how deeply was Jake's past about to intertwine with their future? He could only brace himself for the moment ahead, knowing it might shatter everything he believed or bring them all back together in a way he never expected. Jake's heart dropped, his breath hitching in his throat as he processed Emily's word. "Dad." The word felt heavy, suffocating, as it echoed around them. Was this man before him really the person Emily had been searching for? His mind raced, piecing together fragments of their painful past. The stranger stepped closer, eyes sharp yet softened by something raw. Jake could see lines etched into his face, the burden of a long-lost father. The hair was graying at the temples, But there was a familiarity about him, a family resemblance that he couldn't deny, even from a distance. The sight sent a surge of anger and confusion coursing through his veins. How dare he intrude now, after all these years? Is this really him? Jake thought bitterly. The father who had chosen to walk away and return only now? Emily remained frozen in her spot, the hope and apprehension conflicting in her expression. Jake could feel her pulse quicken, the air thickening around them. He stepped forward, instinctively placing himself between Emily and the stranger, that protective instinct a rush through him. This isn't the place for this, Jake said, his voice strained as he tried to keep his emotions in check. Please, just let me explain, the man said, raising a hand but keeping his distance. Jake noticed then that he looked vulnerable, almost scared. Why now? Jake shot back, desperation clinging to each word. You left us. You chose to leave her. The anger rose, threatening to spill over, but he swallowed hard. Emily needed him to be strong, to shield her from all this chaos. I know, the stranger replied, his voice cracking. And I've regretted it every day since. But I'm here now. He turned to Emily, and there was a flicker of sorrow in his eyes. I've watched from afar, and I want to explain I never wanted to hurt you. Emily's gaze flickered from Jake to the man who claimed to be her father. She seemed torn, her loyalty to Jake battling with the yearning for the father she never knew. You have a lot to answer for, she breathed, her tone steadied by the strength of unhealed wounds. Jake felt the struggle in Emily's expression. Could they trust him? Was this just another mirage, a twisted game of fate? Anger mixed with determination fueled his next words. If you're here to make amends, you better come clean. No lies, no excuses. The stranger inhaled sharply, hands clenching as if he were fighting against the memories of a life he'd abandoned. I promise I'll be honest. But I need you both to understand what you think you know isn't the whole truth. There's more behind why I left. Each word felt like a challenge, and Jake's heart raced as unresolved feelings bubbled to the surface. Would the truth bring them together, or fracture Emily's world even further? His head spun at the implications. As he stood there, the warm sun still shining down, he knew they were on the brink of something monumental. Every glance exchanged, every unspoken word hung heavily in the air. The world around them faded into insignificance. Finally, Emily broke the silence. Then tell me everything, she demanded, taking a step closer to the stranger, her eyes sparkling with unshed tears and a flicker of hope. Jake felt his heart lurch. She was reaching for answers, searching desperately for the connection she'd been denied. But at what cost? He prayed this conversation wouldn't unravel everything he and Emily had built since her childhood, or worse still, open a door to hurt that might never close. Before the stranger could respond, his phone buzzed loudly in his pocket. Jake instinctively reached for it, his heart racing again, the cryptic message pulsing in his mind. Some things are better left untouched. He hesitated for a heartbeat. Would it matter now? Wait, he exclaimed, emotions flaring as he silenced the device, the shadows of uncertainty darkening the air between them. What did the message mean? And was his past truly ready to collide with the present? All he could do was brace for the storm as secrets unfolded, hopes clashed, and a father's return ignited the fire of change. Would they find the truth that binds, or would they lose everything in the process? Jake's body felt rigid, each muscle tight with anticipation. The emotional weight of the moment threatened to topple him. Emily, her breath shallow, stood on the precipice of a decision that could alter everything. Jake's heart ached for her, his protective instincts swirling with a growing sense of dread. Look, just tell us why you came back after all these years, Jake said, his voice sharper than he intended. He wanted to remain supportive, but the anger simmered just beneath the surface. The man took a deep breath. I didn't choose to leave. It was forced upon me. There were circumstances, things you couldn't understand as kids. Emily's eyes widened, a flicker of curiosity breaking through her uncertainty. Circumstances? What does that even mean? You chose to be gone, to let me grow up without you. Her voice trembled, a mix of rage and longing pouring out. I was trying to protect you, he exclaimed, the desperation creeping into his tone. You were kids, and I couldn't be the father I wanted to be while dealing with everything else. It was dangerous. For all of us. Jake couldn't hold back any longer. Dangerous? What are you talking about? We've had our own battles since you left. Do you think your absence didn't leave scars? The stranger's face contorted with pain, and for a moment, Jake saw the regret etched deeply in his expression. I can't change the past, but I want to be here now. I want to be part of your lives again, if you'll let me. Emily's posture shifted. Jake noticed the tightening of her jaw, a defensive mechanism against the flood of emotions that swirled inside her. And what if it's too late? What if I don't want you in my life now? The man took a step forward, his voice low. I understand if you hate me. I deserve that. But I need you to know why that wasn't the answer Jake needed. Why what? He pressed, a fierce need to protect Emily sharpening his focus. Why I couldn't return until now, the man said, swallowing hard as regret washed over him. I had to find a way to be free from the past before I could face you both. It took years for me to get here. I would have given anything to come back sooner. Emily crossed her arms, as if warding off the storm it felt like. Just tell me, what happened? In that moment of silence, the air thickened. Each heartbeat felt like an impending thunderclap, the weight of their shared history tightening around them. I was involved in something much bigger than I knew at the time, something that put you in danger. I thought the only way to protect you was to disappear. Disappear? Jake echoed, incredulous. That is what you call it? I know it sounds harsh, the stranger replied, anguish etched on his face. But I had to. Emily cut him off, her eyes blazing. And what does that even mean now? You think you can just waltz back in and make everything okay? You left. You have no idea what I went through. The tension rose high between the three of them. Jake felt dread creeping back, testing the limits of the fragile peace they'd tried to build. He needed to keep the conversation from spiraling. Emily, listen. Maybe we should sit down. Process this. She shook her head fiercely. No. I need answers, not more excuses. I deserve to know the full truth. At that moment, the stranger looked at Jake, something shifting in his expression, a glimmer of understanding, perhaps. You deserve the truth. Both of you do. But the longer I wait, the more danger you're in. A sudden chill ran up Jake's spine. Danger? Behind the surface of their emotional turmoil lay threats Jake had never considered. Jake was about to speak when he felt the urgent buzz of his phone again. He pulled it out, staring at the screen in disbelief. The message had changed to something more alarming. They're coming. Don't trust anyone. He felt the color drain from his face as he looked up at Emily, realizing the magnitude of what lay ahead. They were entangled in something far more dangerous than just family betrayal. Wait, what are you talking about? Emily asked, suddenly alert. Who is coming? Jake spat, suddenly gripped by fear. Jake knew then, the storm was just beginning. Were they truly ready to face the truth? What other secrets lurked in the shadowy corners of their past? Jake's heart raced as adrenaline coursed through him. The weight of the stranger's words hung heavy in the air, intertwining with the growing dread in his gut. What do you mean, they're coming? He demanded, his voice steady despite the panic churning within. The man's expression darkened, a storm cloud passing over his features. There are people who won't stop until they find me. Your lives are tied to mine in ways you can't begin to imagine. Emily stepped back, her breathing quickening. This is insane. You won't just drop the word danger on us and expect us to believe it. After disappearing for years, you come back with some crazy tale? The truth is stranger than fiction, but it's real, he said earnestly, running a hand through his hair in frustration. You both have to trust me. I wouldn't have come back if I didn't think you were in immediate danger. Trust. That word echoed around Jake's mind, colliding with memories of hurt and abandonment. He glanced at Emily, whose eyes danced with hurt and disbelief. He didn't know where to go from here, but each second felt more urgent, more critical. What do you want us to do? Jake asked, desperation slipping into his tone. Stop asking questions and listen, the man said, urgency shaking his voice. We need to get out of here. Now. If they know I'm back, they'll come looking for you too. Emily folded her arms tighter around herself, doubt still warring with the flicker of trust that wanted to ignite. You just expect us to run based on that message? Because it's a warning. He shot back, eyes blazing. There are people out there who would do anything to find me, and you want to act like it's all just some kind of game? Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. A sound echoed in the distance, a rumble that sent shivers down Jake's spine. What was that? He rasped, instincts kicking in. Grab your things. We're leaving, the man urged. Trust me, we don't have time to waste. Emily shook her head vigorously. No, I need more than this. More than cryptic warnings and vague threats. Jake felt his heart twist for her. In that moment, he knew she was struggling against the tide of emotions pulling her in every direction. He wanted to comfort her, but the urgency pushed him instead. Listen to him. If there's even a chance. Jake, please. Her voice cracked. This isn't just about danger. It's about everything we lost, about the father I barely know, who threw me into this chaos. The man stepped closer, his voice a soft plea. I'm trying to keep you safe. I know I hurt you, but I'm terrified of what's coming. Let me explain everything, but we need to move. Tension thickened, and Jake felt the divide widening, emotions ricocheting off the walls like a pinball. He couldn't lose her. Not now. Emily, please, he implored, reaching for her hand. What if this is real? What if we're caught off guard? She glanced at him, tears brimming in her eyes. I don't know if I can trust him. The air was electric with unspoken fears, unresolved questions hanging precariously in the balance. Jake's phone buzzed again, the screen lighting up with another chilling message that seemed to symbolize their bond unraveling before them. You have to leave now. The stranger moved to grab Emily's arm. We don't have time for this. There's no path back to normal, only forward. But as the words settled in the air, Jake feared they were racing into a storm with no guarantee of survival. What did it mean when their past collided with an uncertain future? Come on, he urged gently. We need to decide if we'll face this together or not. Just as they stepped toward the door, an ominous noise echoed outside, like thunder rumbling through a restless sky. Jake felt a shiver run down his spine. They had to act, to choose. But were they ready to plunge into the unknown? What happens now? Emily whispered, catching her breath as tension tightened around them. The answer hung heavy, a question that left their fates teetering on the edge as they prepared to step into the uncertain night. Would they find safety together or uncover darker truths that would tear them apart for good? Jake's heart thudded in his chest, every instinct screaming at him to move. The silence outside was thick, pressing in on them, while the stranger's intensity filled the room like a storm coiling for a strike. Just a minute, he urged, while glancing out the window. The shadows of the trees danced, shifting with the wind, but something felt more menacing in the air. We need a plan. Emily took a step back, her arms wrapping around her body like a shield. What kind of plan can you offer? You are just a voice from the past, and now you expect us to act like we're in some crazy action movie? It may seem insane, but we need to assume the worst, the man insisted, his voice steady but tinged with desperation. You're not safe here. Trust me when I say my enemies don't care about what I've done or where I've been. They only want to silence me and anyone associated with me. Jake shot a glance at Emily, her skepticism gnawing at him. He couldn't blame her. He felt it too. Every nerve was on edge, but there was a piece of him that sensed they were out of time. Let us just go, he said, trying to infuse strength into his words. What if we run into them? She bit back, eyes narrowing in protest. What if he's wrong? If they're out there, we're already in their sights, Jake murmured, frustration creeping in like the shadows of night. But if we stay, we're guaranteed to be found. We have to act. The words hung there, flipping between them like a stubborn coin. Just then, a sharp crack echoed from outside, making both of them jump. Did you hear that? We don't have time. The man pushed Emily toward the door before she could protest again. Reluctantly, Emily yielded, grabbing her backpack, her fingers trembling. Jake moved to follow both of them, but a tingling sensation at the back of his neck stopped him. It felt like a warning from deep inside. It wasn't just panic, it was primal knowing that as they stepped out, the chilly air hit him, stinging his cheeks. He cast one last glance at the house, their sanctuary now feeling like a cage. Where do we go? He asked. There's an old cabin a few miles from here, the man replied, urgency spilling from his every word. It's safe, at least until we can clear the immediate threat. As they took off into the dark, the trees swallowed them whole, branches twisting into figures that appeared to watch them flee. Jake stole a glance at Emily. She looked frightened but determined. Her emotions were oceans of chaos, and he wished with all his heart he could anchor her. Why didn't you just tell us this before? She asked, brushing ahead, her voice trembling slightly. Because I had to protect you, the man said, his tone filled with sorrow. I thought you'd be better off without me. Clearly that didn't work, Emily shot back, her voice rising. Now it's a matter of life and death. Jake felt the tension building. The danger loomed behind them like a shadow, but here they were, bickering in the middle of a woods that were about to echo with doom. The man turned sharply, stepping into Emily's path. You think I wanted this? That I chose to disappear? There are dark things that I left behind for a reason. I thought it'd keep you safe, but now what? You thought simply running away would make it better? Jake interjected, unable to hold the anger back. What kind of father thinks that? The man's face fell, the weight of remorse shifting in his features. I was wrong. Before another word could be said, the crack from earlier roared back to life, a deep rumble cutting through the forest followed by the breathtaking sound of branches snapping. Run! Jake yelled, urgency crashing around them. They sprinted forward, their hearts racing, feet pounding against the uneven ground. Behind them, something unfurling, something they couldn't see yet. But they could feel it drumming toward them, a pulse that intensified as the darkness closed in as they pushed deeper into the trees, pressing away from the danger, but toward what they had yet to imagine. A chilling question hung between them. Could they really escape the past and whoever or whatever was chasing it? Jake, do you trust him? Emily shouted over the growing distance. Glancing back, the uncertainty clawed at him, and for a moment, he faltered. Did trust even exist in their broken world? And if they got lost in the shadows, could they reclaim what was left of their shattered lives? Suddenly, another loud bang erupted in the darkness, this time accompanied by a flash of light that pierced the night sky. Keep running, he barked, not sure if the danger was behind or ahead. But Jake knew one thing. Whatever was out there was ready for them to make their next move. Jake! Emily's voice edged with panic slid into the space between them, binding them to the fear that crunched around their ankles like fallen leaves. What if they stumbled into the very trap that was meant to ensnare them all along? And what awaited them in the unrelenting night? The forest was alive with sounds. Branches cracked, leaves tangled in the rush of their footsteps. Jake's heart raced. Adrenaline surged through his veins as they sprinted farther into the unsettling dark. Shadows loomed like looming figures, yet his focus remained on Emily and the stranger who now sprinted beside them. Trust became an impossible question in the midst of chaos. Where to? Jake shouted, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The cabin. The stranger yelled back, his voice steady and strong. It isn't far. As they pressed on, the deep, brooding trees formed a barricade against reality, a desperate bubble where fear and hope danced. Emily's face flickered through relief and uncertainty, but Jake couldn't let doubt twist its way between them. Whatever had been torn apart could still be stitched back together. Another thunderous crack echoed above, sending a rush of panic through Emily. Jake! She stumbled slightly, but caught herself. I can't keep running like this. Just a little longer. He reached for her arm, grounding her, pushing away the remnants of their fractured past. We're so close. Suddenly, the man turned sharply, a flash of urgency in his eyes. Keep running. He sprinted ahead, leading the way, and despite his tangled emotions, Jake felt a stirring of hope. Maybe this stranger deserved a second chance, just like he and Emily did. The cabin came into view through the dense brush, a wooden structure that looked like it had been untouched for years, yet stood strong like a beacon in their storm. This way, Jake yelled, determination anchoring him as they neared the entrance. Once inside, the darkness enveloped them, with only the faint sounds of their rapid breathing. Jake quickly woodenly locked the door, ears straining for any sign of danger lurking nearby. What do we do now? Emily whispered, eyes darting around as she took in their surroundings. The cabin was cramped, filled with remnants of forgotten times, faded photographs, rusting gears, a musty smell clinging to the corners. We need to talk, the stranger said, voice heavy with sincerity. About everything. What? So you can give us more cryptic warnings? Emily shot back, her hope precariously intertwined with hurt. What was that mess back there, and why should we listen to you? Jake placed a steadying hand on her shoulder. Calm down. We need to hear him out. Right now, we're not safe, and that's the only thing that matters. I understand you're scared, the stranger replied, sadness creeping into his tone. But this goes beyond you and me. They have eyes everywhere. Jake felt a cold dread settle in his gut. Who are they? The ones who made me run. Those who need to keep the truth hidden at all costs. The reason I left. The man's words hung heavy in the stagnant air. Emily's expression shifted from anger to curiosity. What truth? The man took a deep breath, his vulnerability seeping into every syllable. The truth about what I was part of the things I was forced to do, the danger that followed me here. They'll stop at nothing to silence anyone who knows. Jake swallowed, anger growing within him. And you just thought leaving us behind was the answer? I thought it was for your safety, he argued, pushing through the emerging tension. But now I have no choice. They'll come after you because they know I'm back. You're in danger simply by being linked to me. Linked? You think we want anything to do with you? Emily snapped, voice laced with pain. You walked away. I know. The man pleaded, tears welling in his eyes. The raw emotion struck something deep inside Jake. I can't change the past, but I'm here now, and I need to protect you both. Jake felt Emily's body tense beside him. She swayed between rage and a yearning for connection, longing to understand the father she never truly knew. What do we do now? She finally whispered, her voice thick with emotion. We fight back, Jake said firmly, conviction igniting a flicker of hope. If there's truth to what he says, we need to be proactive. Are you serious? Emily's eyes widened. You want to dig into this danger? Yes. Jake's determination held. It's our only choice. We can't live in fear of the past. We have to confront it together. The man looked between them, realization dawning in his gaze. You're stronger than I ever was. You can face this. Together. Despite the uncertainties swirling, Jake's heart swelled with the surge of unity that had been absent for so long. They had started as strangers, now thrust together by circumstance, and somehow, hope had sparked anew. Listen, Jake said, voice strong yet tender. No matter what happens, we're in this together. For Emily. For our family, whatever that looks like now. Tears glimmered in Emily's eyes, each one holding memories of laughter, absence, loss, and hope. She took a deep breath, her shoulders rolling back as strength enveloped her. Fine. I'll go along with this crazy plan, she said quietly, eyes fierce with newfound determination. The man nodded slowly, gratitude etched in the lines of his face. Thank you. I know I don't deserve your trust, but I swear, I'll protect you both with everything I have. Jake took another deep breath. He had a lot to face: the fear, the mistrust, and the shadows of the unknown. But facing them with Emily, with this man who dared to come back, felt like a chance to rewrite their stories. Then let us finish this, once and for all, Jake declared, the spark of resolve throwing open the door to possibility. As the weight of the night pressed in, they prepared for the fight, ready to reclaim the future they'd almost lost. Whatever darkness lay ahead, they would shine bright against it, stronger than any past that tried to hold them back. And with that resolve, they stepped forward into the chaos, hope blazing defiantly against the storm that awaited them. Here, at last, beneath the weight of fear and uncertainty, a new chapter began to unfold, a chapter of strength, redemption, and the power of family. Now it was time to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Each journey matters, and your support means the world. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow this amazing community. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this dramatic ending. It's your time to be heard. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Don't wait, not even one more second. This is the moment to show your support.